G'day Spurs fans, Paul the Hotspur hippie here, the only psychedelic soccer show on the internet. And look where I am at the moment. Ooh, what's that, you ask? That is, well, at the moment, it's called the Accor Stadium. Some sponsor, I don't know, Accor, is it? They hotels or something? But it used to be called Stadium Australia. And this is the Olympic Stadium from the year 2000. But more importantly, it's also where Ange Postecoglou had some international glory in 2015, beating South Korea. Captain, oh, I don't know if he's captain, maybe he was captain, Heung-min Song. I know Sonny scored a goal, but it weren't enough because Australia won 2-1 in extra time, winning Australia the Asian Cup. How about that? Anyway, the reason I'm here is because I've just got a job here in the Uber. I'm just hanging about. But it looks good, doesn't it? Now I've got news to report. I've heard I've mentioned a few times before about Nottingham Forest. Nottingham Forest, when they won their league championship in the late 70s, because they'd just been promoted from Division 2 as well. A lot of journos, the Fleet Street meathead hacks. Maybe Ali Gold's in there, eh? You know, I know Ali Gold's over here at the moment. I think he's up north somewhere, but he might be fossicking around in there somewhere. But a lot of the journalists were saying about Brian Clough's team at the time, when will the bubble burst? And he would use that as motivation for the team. Has the bubble burst yet, lads? Is it going to burst today? So, I know when Spurs are on a good thing when I start hearing, when will the bubble burst? That's my cue. That's my cue. And the first time I've heard it was a couple of days ago on TalkSport, and it was Jim White. Jim White. Now, in fairness to Jim White, what he actually said was, when will the bubble burst? It's not bursting with Ange. So it doesn't quite count, but I'm counting it, bugger it. It's not official. There's no award. I'm not going to give them a tub of bubble mixture for who says it the most times or anything like that. But Jim White actually has been praising Ange Postecoglou for quite a while. And I'm guessing, you know, I don't know really much about him, but I'm guessing it's because you know, he's a Rangers fan, so he would have been following very closely what Celtic were doing for those couple of years under Ange, and he's seen the effect he has, and he's seen what Celtic did, you know, and felt it. You know, he would have bloody hated it as a Rangers fan, but he still admired what the guy's done. So, you know, whereas the likes of Danny Murphy, Simon Jordan, a few other people out there, they're kind of limiting our ambitions to top four. I'm still thinking we're in a good title crack here. We might do it. We might do it. 2 points clear. I've heard the old argument again. We haven't played anyone. Well, we've played 9 games, mate. You know, come on. What do you want? So I'm excited, man. I'm excited. I liked Ange's comments after the game, even though I thought it was a good performance. But what do I know? Look at me. He said that just because he's grumpy doesn't mean the fans have to be. So we've still got license. Ange is still telling us, don't worry about it, be happy, get ahead of ourselves. He'll take care of the whatever negative stuff there has to be. We don't have to do that. He could do that. He could tell the players that you were fantastic off the ball, but you're absolutely rubbish on it. So, you know, get your acts together. And James Madden has said, looks like Ange gave the players a bit of a bollocking at half-time against Shakhtar Donetsk when they started, you know, reverting to type a bit, playing it a bit safe. He made it clear that ain't the way we're going to do it as Spurs. You've got to press, you've got to harry, you've got to go forward all the time, no matter what. Don't matter if you're 5-0 up or 5-0 down. You don't ever change the way you play. I think that's fantastic. So hopefully his words of encouragement will get the team going again. Also saw a nice little post on Spurs about it was to do with Black History Week. Something I didn't know, that we had the we had the first professional outfield black player. I mean, I'm amazed. Look, I'm half amazed that I didn't know that. But on the other hand, that's, you know, racism isn't just sometimes what you say and what you know. Sometimes, because it's all out there, it's also what you don't know as well. So at least I'm glad I do know that now. Um, I mean, I know we've had a good history of black players, but, you know, I mean, really going from, you know, the 80s, like Garth Crooks and Chris Hughton and whatnot. But we were one of the first. I mean, that's pretty amazing. I think Walter Toll, we signed him in 1909, and he sadly lost his life in the war. But you know, we've come a long way, but we've still got so much further to go on that front. You know, and one thing I did used to like about White Hart Lane was the distinct lack of racism. I'm not saying there was never any racism there. You know, you know, there were monkey sounds. It was disgusting, but at least from our fans, it was a very tiny little pocket. Other fans seem to be, you know, don't need to point fingers at what clubs I'm talking about here, but it was always a lot worse from them. And you know, there's no room for it, man. There's no room for it. So there's a good little video. It showed clips of all our players of black descent, and I mean, the way it's done, I mean, they were putting puns in for the people's names. I thought that was a bit dicky, but look, ah, it's all right. It was all right, but there you go. You learn something every day. You learn something every day. Now we've got a couple of days before we play Crystal Palace. So the kickoff here is at 6 a.m. on Saturday morning. I've got the day right this time. I've checked. I've done my research, and we could go 5 points clear. And I think we'll do it. Even when we were rubbish last year, we beat Crystal Palace 4-0. I keep saying it. Sooner or later, we're going to smash a team. We're going to smash a team. For example, if you look at the game against Fulham, the amount of chances we had that didn't go in. The same against Luton. It's only a matter of time before those chances start going in. We're topping the table in all sorts of measures and stats. But, you know, we've created the most chances. That's not a bad one to have, is it? Create more chances, you get more goals. It's hard to score a goal. That's why you don't tend to see many 10-0 wins. But sooner or later, I'm telling you, it's going to be this season as well, because we are doing so well. Sooner or later this season, there is going to be at least a 6-0 win happening. At least. It might maybe it'll be in the FA Cup in the early rounds. Or maybe it'll be in the league. But it is happening, man. It's happening. Those fine margins that we're just missing by, you know, it's not like we're getting worse, is it? It's not like we're getting worse. We're improving. We're improving. Even though Ange wasn't happy with our possession in the second half, you've got to say that the way we're hassling teams off the ball, forcing them to make mistakes, we're nullifying any attacks that they have really well. I've heard it a few times now where we've beaten a team, and pundits, maybe like Gary Neville, instead of praising Spurs, it seems to be mysterious that every team we play, they ain't got a striker, have they? They haven't got a proper striker. Look at me jump. Look at me jump. Do you see that one? Yeah. Look, when I jump, I put my arms up in the air. So are these teams really strikerless? Or are Romero and Van der Ven just that bloody good at stifling them out? So no doubt when we play Crystal Palace, if we win that one, it'll be Crystal Palace. They need a striker, don't they? But all these teams playing with 10 men or something, they've all got strikers. They've all got forwards. It's not like a big empty, there's not like a whirlwind with a tumbleweed blowing around our penalty box because there's no striker there. It's just that we're that good on shutting them out. So I'm positive at the moment. I'm still positive. I think the league title, you You know, we got a good as chance as any. We could do it. We could do it. We're definitely in this title race. We're in this hunt now. And if we start pulling, you know, most years, and I'm going off my memory here, so if you look at the the real world, maybe I'm talking rubbish. But my impression is that most years in the Premier League, one team kind of runs away with it. It's usually a one-horse race. And at the end of the season, you can look back and you can see all the results and the way they've played. And there's usually, you can feel when a team is on a roll. You know, like Leicester, you know, Man City, or whoever it is. Now, some years, occasionally you get a two-horse race. I would say that doesn't happen as often as people might think. I mean, I'd say at most half the time. But it's never three or four. Never three or four. So at the moment, we're at least in that one or two horse race. You know, well, we've got Arsenal, and Liverpool on the same points behind us. But if we start pulling away a little bit, if we start pulling away, could we be that team that just wins it? Just wins it. Got a great chance. It doesn't look like the other teams have quite got their acts together, does it? Arsenal seem to be in disarray, especially with their goalkeeper situation. It looks terrible. Man City without De Bruyne don't look deadly. Liverpool are hot and cold. Manchester United are rubbish. Chelsea are rubbish. So yeah, and Newcastle, Aston Villa, Brighton, I think they're not quite there. They're not quite there. So if any team's going to do it, I reckon it could be Tottenham Hotspur, by far the greatest football team the world has ever seen. And I will leave you from Sydney Olympic Park. Peace and love, man. Peace and love. Come on, you Spurs.